Welcome back to the channel and this series of self-discovery. And in this video, we're going to review 3 tips on how to take yourself out on a solo date. Now, if you have never taken yourself out on a solo date, or like, what is a solo date? Then keep watching. If you have already done this and you're curious of how to do it better or do it more, or as far as taking yourself out on a backpacking trip solo, then keep watching, or keep watching if you're having fun. So we're going to go over those tips. I think it's extremely important for everyone to know how to take themselves out on a solo date. And you're thinking like everybody does that, or everybody has done that. I would argue that there is like more people that have never done this or feel really uncomfortable doing this. So if you feel uncomfortable eating on your own, if you feel uncomfortable going places on your own, if you feel uncomfortable doing any of that, then these tips will really help you, because this is what has helped me do so much on my own. So, and this is what I talk about in self-discovery before we get into it really quickly, is that why it's important to do this and why it's important to get to know yourself. You're going to have a completely different life when you know yourself. Things will fucking change. I'm not going to lie to you, because this has happened to me. That when you know yourself, when you take yourself on dates, when you really get to know yourself as you are trying to get to know like a partner, when you're trying to get to know a friend or a partner, you want to spend time with them, you want to do activities with them, you want to treat them well, you want to ask them questions. What's their history? How are they feeling? All these things. And a lot of the times, the majority of us don't even do that with ourselves. We just go into that with other people. But first, we have to have a good nation of ourselves in order to have true, authentic expression of ourselves and connect with others. So first thing is get to know your activity. So this is really helpful. When I first became very nervous, is having an activity. So if I'm going somewhere, if I'm going out to dinner, if I was going to go to a coffee shop, or just going to have a day on my own, I needed to have an activity for myself. And this kind of bridges you into like not having a human with you, not having like a person. And the activities that I found very helpful is either a book or a journal or my phone. So ideally, I tried not to use my phone, because then you just get sucked into like just in the digital space and not really present where you're at. So if you can avoid using your phone as an activity, then try to. But sometimes you just use what you got. So I would prefer either a book or a journal. Now, this allowed me to do something, to read something. If I was ever feeling like uncomfortable, like I wanted to talk to somebody, but nobody was there because I'm alone, I would use this as this kind of buffer replacement when I felt like a little anxious about like not having someone to sit by or to eat with. Then I'd be able to like read and kind of like distract myself as I'm like getting used to being alone with myself. So the second thing is nervous system. So we're going to do this right now. As you're watching this video, I want you to take a deep breath in, drop your shoulders, and then take a deep breath out. You can do that again. Deep breath in, relax into it. You can close your eyes, and deep breath out, big sigh. Okay. And then I want you to like look around the room, wherever you are. Look behind you. There's a wall behind me. I'm going to do it again. Do it slowly. And what this does is the second thing of your nervous system. So if you're alone doing something scary, which to us it could be really frightening and unnerving, being alone in a space when there's a bunch of people together. And a huge thing to allow yourself to feel safe in the situation is your nervous system. So deep breaths and looking around in your environment, actually looking up, making eye contact, looking at people, all those things allow you to feel like, okay, it's safe to be here. It's safe to be alone. It's safe to do this activity. And to realize like nobody's looking at you. You're not the weirdo. It doesn't matter if you're alone and people are on dates or there's a bunch of friends hanging out, like it is okay. So activity, nervous system, we're going to regulate that through breath and through looking around, making sure that, we're okay. Everything's good. Our environment is safe. And the third thing is to plan ahead. So plan ahead and like also start small. So if you have never done this before, we're going to just take a coffee shop, because this is my favorite thing to get people started. Is that typically you have coffee shops that you've been to. And if you've been to a coffee shop with friends, I would start there. Start with a place that you're already familiar with, that you've already been to with other people. It's not a new space. And then you're going to pick that space to be your first solo date. So it's not something new. You feel comfortable with it. You know what it looks like. You know what you can order. You know where to sit, all those kinds of stuff. Those are the things that help you not feel as fearful, because you kind of already have that handled. So I would start with a coffee coffee shop that you've already been to. Starting small, like a coffee shop, maybe before a full dinner is helpful because you're like, I could just have a latte, I could journal. It's like more of a touch and go place. I'm not like sitting alone eating a meal while everybody else is like eating together. That's always helpful. So start in stages, start small if you haven't done it, and then build as you go. So in that case, if you feel like you locked in a coffee shop and you're like, oh, I've done that, check. I feel good about going to read or journal on my own at a coffee shop. Then you can move into taking yourself to dinner, dressing up, going out, sitting at a table for two, and then enjoy being a table of one. It allows you not to feel like you need somebody. It helps you self-regulate, helps you get to know yourself. How you interact in these areas is getting to know you. It's dating you. My third thing is going out to an event. Like I like to go to like jazz concerts alone. In music, you can go to a group, I would say like a group activity, or maybe a fitness class or something else that you can be around people. But again, you have opportunity to be in your own space. And don't be afraid, like if this opens up to you, like meeting new people. Because when you're alone, you're at more like availability to make new connections because you're not with somebody already that you feel open to. Like if there's somebody else alone, then you kind of look at them and you're like, okay, maybe I can connect with them. That would be fun. And then after you do that, then one of like the big leaps is to do like a travel on your own. And the travel could be to another city. It could be within driving distance. It could be a new town. It could be states away or country, all those kind of stuff. So that's where things get really juicy, is when you start to travel on your own. You learn a lot about yourself when you do that. So those are 3 tips to start to ease into solo dates. I super encourage you to do that. I would love to hear if you have done one, or which kind of little hint would be helpful. If you have any questions about solo dates or solo travel, hit me up in the comments, and make sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to know more about self-discovery or any of the other topics that I have on the channel. So stay weird, stay alien, get weird, get weirder, and I will see you in the next video.